Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. This is a continuation of the video that we started about your guitar, naming your guitar, and we stopped at naming our strings. We want to pick it from there. And before we start naming our strings, allow me to do a recap of what we talked about last week about the strings. I said musical notes are given musical alphabetical letters to name musical notes. I also said those alphabetical letters has been used widely in music, in naming key, in naming notes, in naming chords, and now also naming the strings and also naming the keys. If you are a piano player, I'm also a piano player. Now, and I said our strings are 6, from string 1, the high E, to string 6, low E, and each of these strings were given names. And the first name of the string was I, E. Then from E we had a B string, then we had a G string, then we had a D string, then we had an A string, and finally low E. That is how our strings are named. Now we want to start at a point, but then before we start at a point, allow me to introduce a small rule. When you are naming your notes from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, there is a simple rule that I want to remind you, like have it all the time. Between B and C, and between E and F, we have a semitone difference. Like if I have E, if I have B, I go directly to C. There are two things I also want to introduce, is sharps and flats. Sharp is a musical symbol that is used to raise a note by a semitone. Flat is directly opposite of sharp. So flat lowers a note by a semitone. Sharp raises a note by a semitone. Now, between B and C, we only have a semitone difference. We don't have a full tone. But the rest of the notes, the difference between each note is a full tone. And you'll realize if you are playing keyboard, you have black keys. Black keys are generally called accidentals. They are used to raise or lower the note. Before you jump from, let's say, from A to B, you'll realize between letter A and B in keyboard, there's always a black key. That's an accidental. So you'll raise from B, you go to black, then back to. The same principles applies in guitar. And I'm saying we are going to start at a point, and I want us to, let's consider the tiniest string, string E. The same principles apply. I will talk repeatedly about it until you'll understand. I know most of you understand the concept. For those who did music and those who are great instrumentalists, those who write music, those who teach music, those who sing music, you will understand. I know you will. Now, using our tiniest string, the first string is called an E string. This E string, it's called E. That's our starting point. Now, if I press the same string against the fretboard on the first fret, it will sound different. It has gone a little higher, a semitone higher. So it is no longer E. This one is E. Pressing it, that's not E. That one is called F. As we progress, the name of the note changes on the fretboard. So this one is E, this is F. Between E and F, there is no accidental. But then from F, we go to F sharp. When I move to the second fret, the first string is F sharp. The first one was F. This one is F sharp. From F sharp, we go to G. Now, G is a natural note. If you lower G with a semitone, you flatten G, you go back to F sharp. So G flat and F sharp means the same thing. I had F, I raised F to F sharp. I had G, I lowered G to G flat. So F flat, G flat, the same note. That principle applies in the rest of the guitar. Now, this is G. When I move the next step, it's called G sharp. It's no longer G. G sharp. When from G sharp, we go to A. Now you'll realize that if I was in A, then I lower A with a semitone, I'll go back to where I previously called G sharp. So A flat and G sharp is basically the same thing. You'll get that as you proceed. G sharp, A flat, A. Assume I want to raise A with a semitone. I'll go to A sharp. From A sharp, I'll go to B. Now, if I take B, assume I was in B, then I reduce, I get one step backwards, or I lower B with a semitone. It's no longer B, it's called B flat. And remember, the B flat, we called it previously A sharp. So A sharp is technically B flat. From B, we go to C. Remember the rule again. Between B and C, E and F, we have no accidentals. It is a straight a semitone jump. You don't go to a semitone next, then another semitone, a full tone. No, it's straight a semitone jump. So from B to C. Let's start again. Open E, F, F sharp, G, another name for F sharp, G flat, G, G sharp, A, another name for G sharp is A flat, this is A sharp, another name for A sharp is B flat, B. From B we go to C. There's no accidental, remember, so it is B, C. From C we go to C sharp. From C sharp we go to D. D, if we lower D with a semitone, go back to C sharp, which is equally called D flat. So D flat and C sharp, the same thing. So this is C sharp or D flat, D, D sharp. Another name for D sharp is E flat, because from D sharp I'll go to E. When I lower E, I flatten E, it's called E flat. If I bring it to original key, it's called E. E. This E is basically the same as an open E. If you have musical ear, you will feel it. So this one is E, open E, the same thing. The same principles applies in the rest of the strings. You can rewatch the video over and over and learn. Quickly, assume I was using the second string. I had the first string E. I'm now using the second string B. Now my starting point will be B. Between B and C, there is no accidental. So if the open string is at B, the next one is a C. Then C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F. Between E and F, there is no accidental. F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, double dot, another octave. So open B, and that one, the same thing, B. From B, you go to C, C sharp, until you reach the end of your fretboard. The same apply to all the strings. Remember, your starting point is the name of the string. Alright? Thank you for watching. You can really play the video over and over and put that into your head and practice and learn the notes on your strings. The next video that we're going to do is a video about your first chord on guitar. Bye.